Good morning, beautiful people. Rise and shine. It's going to be a great day today. If you guys are joining me for the very first time on our YouTube channel, please do me a favor and subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel this morning. Let me tell you something. This talk is going to be a difference maker in the lives of a lot of people because I've been wanting to do this talk, and my friend Nizuri is joining me. What's up, Naz?
Nothing much. What's up, Pastor Ricardo? Good to see you.
Man, listen, we've talked about this subject matter for a while. And 2020, man, what a year. What a year, a disruptive year in the world. I mean, nothing is the same. Would you agree?
Everything has changed.
You know, there's some people who haven't accepted that truth yet.
They're in for a big shock. We ain't going back.
Now, as for our viewing audience who may have not seen you on our live here on Effective Living before, tell them a little bit about Nizuri, where you're from, and just how you got to where you are right now. Give us a little quick highlight of that.
Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining us, guys. This is Naz, your boy. Full name Naziri. I'm from Kampala, Uganda. I have been here with Coach Ricardo for a good number of time, and I can tell you I have come a long way. To sit here and talk to you, that's a big thing right here. So from Kampala, Uganda, I mean international right here in the US, in Dallas, Texas, trying to make it. And what a topic this morning about changing this mind right here, coming from the environment where I come from. But yeah, Uganda is a great country, beautiful people. Africa is great, ready for a blessing. I'm excited to be here in Dallas, Texas. I serve at a church here in Garland as a children's pastor. And what a blessing it's been for me, a journey to come here and go to school at Dallas Baptist University and be able to put myself in an environment where someone can tell me, hey, come on a talk show and share about your life.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And it speaks to the fact that everything could change. And in your case, everything has changed.
That's right.
You know, I wanted to talk to you about this subject matter because I thought it would be one of great importance. Most people don't realize if you want an incredible life, if you want an advancing life, if you want a life that is improving in every sense of the word, you're going to have to be willing to change.
That's true. Yeah.
Everything's changing.
Everything has changed.
So one of the things that I've taught lately is that you have to accept the fact that if everything's changing, then I have to change as well. Let's talk about I change mind, change life. When did you come to accept the fact that, hey man, my mind's gonna have to change on something?
It's a bitter truth to accept, but the sooner you accept it, the better. Realizing that, hey, not everything going on around me is the devil's fault. Not everything going around me is my parents' fault. Not everything going around me is the government's fault. Not everything going around me is because I was born in a third world country. Nothing, because every step of the way I met people who are in the same circumstance like me but doing well. I was like, that brother stepped in this country like me. He said he had $200 in his pocket. He is the CEO of an IT company. I'm like, well, you can't tell people anymore I come from a third world country. I came without money. Then you meet someone else who's like, yeah, I was raised in a single mom's home like you. I was like, then that's not a problem anymore. We like going, I didn't have a father growing up. I'm like, that is not working anymore. Then you meet someone and say, well, brother, I do not have a college degree. But I'm educated more than you. I'm like, okay. So the beginning point is an open mind to help yourself. Like, something is wrong here. I need to address it. I don't know what it is, but something is wrong. And I had a big argument yesterday with someone who does not want to jump that phase wonderful young lady, and she's like, let me tell you what the devil has done to me. And I was like, I believe the devil is alive and is good, but I told him about me, as I have come to realize I have blamed the devil a lot on the things that have been going. But I look back and I'm like, brother, that decision was on you. It wasn't on the devil. You made a bad move. That is not. So the sooner you come to that point, I'm like, if A, B, C, D are doing the things they're doing and they've been in the same environment as me, then you sit in a place where you hear people talk. And I'm like, well, I think there's something about me that needs to change, not the government. There's nothing out there that can change for me to change. I can change what's inside, what's on my mind, and then the same environment out there for all of us will play for all of us. The same sunshine doesn't shine on Coach Ricardo differently from me.
Yes, you know, Nas, that is such an incredible point. But there is a level of unwillingness to change, that we fight to hold on to the truth that we have acquired up to this point.
Yes.
But you said something. You said, you look at this person and you said, hold on. He doesn't have a college degree. He doesn't have, he grew up in a single parent home. This guy is from a third world country. As a matter of fact, if you're watching, I mean, all kind of people are saying, hey, what's up, Nas? We got people jumping in and giving a shout out to you, Nas. But if you listen to what Naziri just mentioned, which is so true, and that is, watch this, y'all. Listen to this. Someone is succeeding with the same cards that have been dealt to you. Okay? Someone is succeeding with the same cards that have been dealt with you. What they just decided to do was they decided to play well. They decided to go ahead and play well. And the question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when it comes to how you're going to show up with the cards that you've been dealt? Or are you going to make excuses? Because Nas, that's really what a lot of people are doing. What people are doing is that they're making excuses. Now, one of my statements of truth that I'm making now is that don't forget the lifestyle you promised to yourself. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Because, you know, you said, I want to own a home. I want, you know what I'm saying? I want to travel around the world. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a maid. I want to drive this certain kind of car. I went looking at a Tesla. Okay? Because I was like, listen, I want me a Tesla. Okay? All right? So what's this, Nas? I'm studying coding. I'm now going back and I'm learning certain things that I realized that are futuristic. Things that I'm going to need that's not in the present, but it's in the future. Talk to us, Nas, just for a moment about changing your mindset when it comes to environment. There are a lot of people who want a better life, but they don't understand environment matters when it comes to mindset.
Yes, Pastor Ricardo, you introduced me to a book. Now, I read a statement in that book, probably matter for, but the guy asked a question about parenting. He says, would you rather raise your child in a good home, but in a bad environment? Or would you rather raise your child in a bad home, in a good environment?
Yes.
And his case was, now he's not, I mean, this is just hypothetical question, but it's like, in a bad house, in a good environment, that kid has 9 out of 10 chances to succeed than one who grows up in a good home in a bad environment. And then I looked at myself like, we were raised by good mothers. I was raised by a good mother. I was raised in a disciplined home. I was raised to succeed. I was raised and told, go to school. I go into school. But I realized the environment around me was bad. The environment around me was bad. So it's very important to grow up in a great home, but you cannot beat the environment, the school system, everything around you, your friends and everything around you plays a big role in your success than the inside of the house. If a kid leaves the house and all his friends are going to the same school, those are the people he's going to grow up with. Those are the same people. When they go out into the job world, those are going to be his friends. CEO, CFO. I mean, if you have 10 CEO friends that attend camp, you are most likely to be in that company if that's been your group growing up.
Yes.
Now, you could have grown up in a great home, but hey, all your friends, you're all out here chilling. That's going to be your environment. So the soon I relate to that point, I'm like, man, you can be a good person, but growing up in a very bad environment. 99%.
Which will affect your overall return in life. You know, there are some parents who are watching us, and I know you guys agree with me. There are parents who would have said, listen, I'm moving across town to make sure that my child can go to this school.
Very important.
Or, you know, I need him to play on this basketball team. I need her to play on that soccer team, because if she wants to go somewhere, if he wants to go somewhere, I need the environment to be right. Now, a few years ago, I went to a plant nursery center to buy some house plants. I love real plants in my home, right? And I went and bought this nice shrub. It was an indoor plant. They said it was an indoor plant. Beautiful. It was circle, and it had these fluffs that they had trimmed it to be, and it was about 4 feet high. So it was pretty tall deal. It was heavy. It was great, but nice to bring into the home. And it was alive. It was real. I love this thing. I'm from the islands, right? I'm from the islands. And they said to me, the guy at the plant store, he says, listen, man, in Florida, this thing, if you plant it in your yard, can grow bigger than your house. But putting it in the pot, in your house, it will stay the same size.
Wow.
So watch that. I'm in Texas. I bought the plant with the assurance that I'm going to enjoy the splendor of having this beautiful plant in my home. Watch this. I was traveling that summer, back-to-back traveling. I'm talking about back-to-back traveling. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to just put it out on the porch so that the weather can give it some. I'm going to give it a treat, because it's a plant now. It's supposed to be able to handle itself on the porch. I went and traveled for about 2-3 weeks. Came back, and when I went on my patio to look for the plant, all the leaves had gone. All the leaves, Texas, 100-degree weather had burnt that thing up, because the environment outside in Texas was not the place where this plant belonged. It could survive inside, but it will never be what its potential would have it to be.
Right.
Because inside my house was still not the right place. Outside in the yard in Texas still wasn't the right place. It belonged in tropical environment. It belonged in Florida. It belonged in the Bahamas. And it would have thrived had it been in the right environment. It takes a big decision, though, to get to the right environment. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, environment doesn't necessarily mean leaving one country to go to another. Environment doesn't necessarily mean leaving. Environment more so is what is going in your mind.
Yes.
When you're going for lunch, who are you sitting with? What's the average 5 people you're always around? Now, we say these words all the time and throw them, but these things affect us. You look around and say, my closest 5 friends, 4 of them, I can call ask for $10,000.
Yes.
That's a problem. That's a problem. If my closest 5 friends, I cannot call to ask for 10 grand. I have a problem.
Yes.
So environment is not just physical space. Physical space is the bigger bill. But if you're living in Uganda, in the Bahamas, in Kampala, in Nairobi, hey, you know, in Nairobi, there's a Rotary Club happening somewhere where people are meeting, and this has a group of people that you can go to 1 meeting a week, and that can change your life. Environment is when I'm sitting at my house, what am I doing with my time? Am I reading a book? Am I listening to a talk show? I mean, I'd never listened to a talk show my entire life, but
wow.
I was like, the first time we were at your house, and there's this guy called what's his name? He died recently. Jim Rohn. Are you that guy talking? Like, who's that talking?
Yes.
I was like, Mike, I jumped in my car, drove back home, listened to that guy. I'm like, what has this going on in my life? That is environment. Your car being a music blasting road, whatever you can call it, than it being a place where you're listening to things that help your mind. That is environment. So environment is something very big. It's not just a physical space, but realizing, you know what? When I come home and I sit in my place, I don't want to look at the kitchen very dirty. I don't want to sit at the table that's not. I want to come to a place where my mind is like, I want to be here. So environment is something very big. It's not just related. So it's people, words, friends. Yes, for kids, schools and corporate organizations, but more so it's what's around you before you even leave. You can thrive. We were talking about, so you say, there are people thriving in Haiti.
Yes, right. Yes, there are people thriving in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Still has people thriving because they chose to deal with environment. Naz, I love the story how you shared that, because I can remember standing up on the street corner, hanging with my friends who weren't interested in going progressively anywhere. Or even if we were talking it, we were just talking it out of just street talk. I mean, we all know that there are some people who are talking the talk, but you know there is no result. One day I'm gonna have this, one day now you ain't got nothing that's gonna bring about that type of result, because this community, this mindset, this spot where we stand does not build for what we're saying we want. So now I'm standing there with my friends, and I realized this is not what I wanted. That environment was not the type of environment that would breed on my potential and help me to become who I wanted to be. Long story short, I heard someone recommend me to go to Toastmasters. I walked into Toastmasters meeting, and those guys were wearing neckties. The guys were wearing suits. And there were managers in there. There were doctors in there. There were accountants in there. I was like, this is nice. Now, here's the deal, Naz. When I joined Toastmasters for the first 3 meetings, I rode my bike to Toastmasters. I was the least among them. But because I made a commitment, I was in that Toastmasters program for 5 years strong, every week. And what happened was I stopped riding my bike, and one guy would pick me up in his BMW. Another guy would pick me up inside his Mercedes. The other guy, let's go to lunch at this restaurant. I started to be exposed. Next thing you know, I'm doing Saturday classes to get my mind renewed and get my life developed. I'm a strong advocate for Toastmasters, the Kiwanis Club, the Rotary Club. There's a group of people meeting that is a better group of people than you're currently meeting with. And you got to tell yourself, I'm going to upgrade my community and start hanging with people that are going somewhere, because it is a true statement. Birds of a feather fly together. So environment matters. But let's go into this. It's somewhat connected to the one we just talked about. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Nazuri, and let me tell you something. We're talking about changing our minds to change our lives. If you want your life change, you're going to have a mind change. And some of us are fighting with the ideas that we've been holding on to for so long. Some of it is generational, Naz. Generational mindset that has been passed down, that's not working for you, but you're still fighting to keep. Fighting to keep a behavior that has been passed down to you, that has not worked for your parents, their parents, or the parents prior to them, but yet you're still holding on to this as a foundational position. So now let's go to the next one. We talked about environment. We somewhat talked about this already, but let's go to the role people play. Because there is an environment where you belong that can help you to succeed, but there are people, like-minded people. Talk about that and your journey to where you are now, and the freeness you find in your spirit to knowing that life is so much better because God has strategically allowed you to connect with some people. I'm of the belief someone is assigned to help you. I'm of the belief that there is a community of people that's going somewhere in the same direction as you. And if you connect with that community, it strengthens you on your journey, because going up is difficult.
Yes.
Winning is difficult. Changing appropriately for success is going to take work. So it's better to have the right association. It's better to have the right community of people around you in order to win. In your view, the role of people in changing your mindset.
Not only is someone assigned to help you, but what has been working for me the last few months is like someone is watching you fail.
We talk about that. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Someone is watching you mess up. Someone is watching you fail who is capable of helping you, and they're not saying anything.
They can't. They can't, because you are going and doing your own thing. And I'm like, oh boy, I wish I could. So I'm like, but looking at myself like, man, I've been doing this, and there's someone who's been watching me. It's like, this brother could have helped me. This brother could have helped me. I have a friend who's buying a house. He's buying a house, and he's been asking a few questions. And we were asking another friend of ours, how come you didn't tell us this before? This guy knew all this for 10 years, but until someone made a move and said, I am going to buy a house, then that's when he stepped up. So where if you're going to buy a house, make sure you take care of your taxes. Make sure you take care of this. Make sure you take care of that. It's like, how come you didn't tell me this the last 10 years? We've been together. Well, you can't blame him. He's just been watching you.
Yes. And one of the things that I teach is, and I'm a big believer in this, because some people don't want to be told. So what I've been teaching is advice given but not requested is seldomly
appreciated.
Advice given but not requested is seldomly appreciated. So that's why I think it's dangerous for us to have a standoff approach and not allow people to connect with us. If you're in the right environment, allow that environment to influence you. If someone around you is doing better, don't try to be equal with them. Try to learn from them.
So people around us know something that we do not know, but if we do not ask, they might not say. Or if they tell us something to do that we did not request, as you said, we will not appreciate it. We'll just take it out. But people are very important, beginning with our parents, beginning with the people who raise us every day. I don't know how much I can tie success of any human being on how much his parents feed in his mind, regardless of what they're going through. So parents, very important. Number two, the school you go to, the teacher. One of the greatest, most important people in anybody's life is who's teaching your child. Who's teaching your child? Because whatever that teacher is spending a whole day, 5 days a week with your child, more time than you. Because when they come home, you are going to sleep the whole night. You see them in the morning, you see them in the evening. The teacher sees them 8 to 4 p.m.
Wow.
So the teacher has so much influence on your child. Whatever they are telling them and whatever they are teaching them is what they're going to go through. Now, once we leave that, as we grow up, the associations around us, the conversations we're having. When I was growing up, conversation was about soccer. I meet up with my friends and we talk soccer the whole time. After soccer, we talk movies. This is a high school student. We talk movies. We talk soccer. We talked, of course, girls. But I'm realizing, I was talking to my friend. I'm like, can you believe if we were in high school and we were asking ourselves, hey, what are we going to do when we get out of here? That's a question we never asked ourselves. What do we? The president of Uganda, Pastor Ricardo, has been ruling that country for 35 years. But going back to his high school days, and his friends from high school had a vision going out of high school to rule the country.
Wow.
Out of high school, him and his friends had a vision to rule the country. That's the kind of friends around he had. It took them a long time, but they did it. I'm like, even in high school, 16, 17, the conversations that child is having with the people around them. Oh, brother. So yes, you could have come from a very dysfunctional family. You could have come from a very dysfunctional environment. But right now, who is talking to you is a big deal. Who is speaking into your life? Who's your pastor? Who's your coach? Now, coach is a new thing we don't even accept. But let me go back. Who's right now? Who's your friend speaking to you? So I wrote down friend. Who's speaking to you for us who go to church? Who's your pastor? Because some pastors are great teachers, but some pastors are really helping people get out of bad situations. To give you a real word, get out of a bad environment. So who's your pastor? Who's your friend speaking to you? Who's your mentor? Which group are you going to learn from? Who is telling you what book? Because there's one thing to read books, but there's another thing for someone to tell you, hey, read this book.
Read this book.
I've been falling in the habit of reading books. Now I want to leave that and make, which book should I read before you buy? Ask. But then lastly, these days, there's someone who has jumped into our lives. I mean, it's been there all the time. But for me and more, maybe other people, we're just learning. There's a role of a coach in your life. Someone who can help you make decision A, B, C. Within 1 year, you're going to get to something I have taken 10 years to get to.
Accelerating the process of growth in your life through mentorship, through coaching. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is, just as you mentioned, the person has the ability to help you to avoid
a lot of things.
See, we have been told, Nas, and I think it's somewhat wrong, and that is experience is the best teacher. No. Experience is not the best teacher. Learning from someone else's experience is the best teacher. Because I can avoid that pitfall, and I can now learn and glean and advance. Someone wanted to help me along the way that I ignored, and it was a huge mistake. All of us are in that position. But here's the deal. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. We all have access to someone who wants to help us. And like you said, a coach will help you to accelerate your growth. But you got to be willing to be teachable. Talk about teachable, though.
One of the greatest problems we have as human beings is accepting the truth. and it takes stages. Some people live in denial. Some people don't want to talk about it. The moment you mention, like, they divert you to another topic, they're not being stubborn. They're just trying to stay away from the truth because they do not want to face facts. There's a point where you have to reach in life and say, I need to accept a few things that I've done wrong. I need to accept that I have messed up. The most liberating statement in my life has been, I have messed up. I have done something stupid. I have done something wrong.
That's so good.
That is the beginning point of any help you can get. If you never get to that point where you feel like, if you're still thinking it's the devil. Now, I'm not denying these things, Pastor Ricardo. We have generational curses. Those things are there. But that's not the day you realize, oh, well, my family has been going through these things, then it's time to stop with me. Then you can't be you can't be blaming it on that 10 years later. You discovered that 10 years ago. You discovered 10 years ago that there's a health problem in your family. What are the issues you have to work out? you don't need to fight. You don't need to fast and pray for that. Like, oh, brother, my mom, my dad, they all died of this thing. But you know, if I work out and keep my body healthy and eat well, this thing should go away. Don't start blaming 10 years. Well, my parents went through the same thing, but you learned about it 10 years ago. And you still allowed it to happen. Well, it has been the devil. Well, it's been the environment. It's been my friend. It's been this. You can blame it. But the day you wake up and realize, I have done something wrong, I think I need to change. Now, accepting the change is another part, but putting yourself in a position to say, I need help. I do need help. And then you can start the process of finding help. Many of us are always talking about change, but changing is a big deal. But it's a great step to accept, you know what? I think I've done something wrong. And if you can make another jump and say, okay, what have I done wrong? Who can I ask? Who can I talk to? And then how can I help myself? You have done a big service to yourself, but you cannot jump the first statement of like, it is upon me.
Yep.
It is on me. It is on me. I like this book, The Effective Habits of Highly Successful People. This brother summarizes all the first. He says, the first three talk about you. It all starts with you.
and most people are not prepared to take that. Nas, I have a coach, and the guy said to me, he said, your struggle with your business is that your clientele want God to fix them. He said, the challenge is that your clientele want God to fix them and not take responsibility for fixing the things that they can fix themselves.
Wow.
He says, because your community is largely faith-based, they want a spiritual fix.
Wow.
Not the practical reality that if I change my behavior, I change my life.
Right.
So what you're saying there is, we can change, but we have to take responsibility. So when I wrote my book, Effective Living, it's a guide filled with practical things that a person has to do to get to this place called where I don't need a vacation from. A place where I like, a place where I am enjoying waking up in the morning, a place where I love coming home, a place where I've learned how to love where I work. Now, let's talk about this before we bring our conversation to a close. The mindset that is required to be changed when it comes to money. So now we have environment.
Yes.
We have people, but then there's also a money mindset.
Oh, yeah. Most of us who have been raised in humble backgrounds, we have not been taught the importance of money. We've actually been told money might be a bad thing. What a damaging statement. What a very damaging statement. What a very, very, very damaging teaching, to look at someone who's successful financially and think they are in trouble. There's something going on wrong. They're doing something not to celebrate someone who's doing well. What a bad environment to grow up in, where you look at a successful someone, especially financially, and either feel jealous towards them or feel bad towards them. I mean, rich is bad because the majority of us are poor. Instead of us saying, man, the majority of us are poor, but we have someone who's made it. Let us go like him and make it. Let us embrace him. So just from the culture where I come from, rich is not celebrated. Rich is looked at as something, well, you must have gained your money in a bad way. You must have done something wrong. Not necessarily someone has done something wrong. As a culture, we have to get to a point of embracing it is okay to make good money. And there's so many things we are not going to change unless we have good money. For me to say that statement, that's taken me years to accept that there's nothing wrong with having money. Now, Pastor Ricardo, cultures are very different. Cultures are very, very different. And the cultural teaching about money really says everything about someone who's holding money and how we spend out. Like, there's a bad statement that goes on in my culture. They say, well, I would rather be peaceful on my bicycle than driving a Mercedes and not have peace.
So they're saying they prefer to have peace on their bicycle to have a Royce and not have peace, to justify, because really what that is,
to justify. Justifying that statement that it's okay to be poor and broke. What about it? Then kids these days are saying something different with that statement. They say, well, no, I better cry in my Mercedes than be on
Somebody, I heard a friend of mine said this. He says, if money is bad, transfer all of yours on my account, please.
Thank you so much. So,
you know, in
those statements, those thinkings, those theories play in your head over time. 20 years of your life, 25, 30 years of your life, thinking in that same way is very damaging.
What about this? And I know this is helping some of you guys that are watching right now. If this is helping you, please share, like, comment. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and please comment. Thank you. But Nas, there is a conditioning about money that simply says when you get it, you should spend it. There is this, I can't wait for payday because the next day is shopping day. Come on. And so what happens is we've somehow picked up along the way the paycheck lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
We've picked up as soon as, watch this, as soon as I get money to spend it. So that I can feel good instantly. It's almost like someone on drugs. You know, and it's pacifying you in the immediate moment, and then you have to go be a slave again for 5-7 days or for 15 days before payday comes, and then you go ahead and you just flush out all the money again. And
what
then
about
you say, what's this? And then you say stuff. At least I have a job. Hey, watch this. Somebody said, Vanessa, thank you very much for sharing this. She says, someone had this on their profile. I would rather hustle for 24/7 than to save for 5 days a week. In other words, I would rather hustle for 24 hours, 7 days a week for mines than to slave for 5 days a week in a place I dread, don't like. You know how many people get up every morning, sit in their car when they get to work and say, I hate this place.
Oh, many people.
I hate this place. But they're a slave to that place, and they don't know how to condition themselves to a healthy place, to remove themselves from a place that's not best for them. So when I wrote the book, Effective Living, the goal was to help people take control of their lives. Now, in a couple of weeks, I'll be hosting my annual retreat. It's this right here. Now watch it. There will be people who want a better life. They want to take control of their life, but they won't go ahead and say, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find myself in the environment. I'm going to get around proper people. I'm going to listen, man. I want to be around people, Nas, who don't want to borrow something from me financially every time they see me. It's like, you know, there is a group of people. The reason why they don't have no affluent people around them is because they only come around with the, oh my goodness, I have a rich friend, so I'm going to try to borrow something. Rather than saying I have a rich friend and I want to learn what he learned to become rich.
Yeah, yes.
So all friends, I don't get close to them for a handout. I've been close to them so what's on them can rub off on me so that I can learn how to change my life, like how they've changed their lives.
Yes. And many people are willing to teach, by the way. Most people who are doing well are willing to teach. The challenge is knowing whether you want to be teachable or you're coming to borrow, as you said.
Yeah. And listen, if you're just wanting to borrow or just simply from those who are doing well without learning from they will shun you.
Oh yeah.
They realize you not learn what you have about to try to get. No,
I hear you.
Nas, I'm breaking up. I think my internet is breaking up.
Yeah, I'm losing you a couple of minutes.
All right. Hey, Nas, let's talk about that moving out from the page mindset, bring myself to a healthier engagement of understanding money.
Yes. Say that again. I'm losing you.
Idea. Paycheck to
paycheck. Yes. Wait. I don't know how we can break out of this thinking about paycheck to paycheck. But if you're listening to us and following us, there is an understanding about money that there's a great seminar taught by Dave Ramsey. Pastor Ricardo, that's a great thing for people who can learn from it. Dave Ramsey teaches so well about budgeting, about your budget telling you how your money is going to go somewhere before it even comes to you. But living every day waiting for a paycheck is a very dangerous thing. So there's something you told me a few years ago. There's so many ways you can earn, but you talked about 3 ways. You said you can earn because you're being paid. You have a job somewhere. You can earn from your brand. And then the other thing you said, you can earn from another income. I think that's what you said. A third source of income. And I was like, bro, you cannot sit down and wait to be paid every Friday. That's a dangerous way to live. That's a dangerous way to live, because as soon as one of these days, boss is going to wake up and not pay you. He's going to call you and say, you know what? We're letting you go. It is coming very soon. Boss is going to say, brother, thank you so much for your services. Paycheck, your last paycheck is this Friday.
Wow.
What a statement for someone telling you your last paycheck is this Friday. That is very devastating. So deciding to earn money in so many ways is great. Now, the challenge is it's not going to be a big amount of money, but the habit of saying, I am making $2 this day without me doing anything. I am making 5, I am making 10, I am making 50, or I was able to make $100 on something. The sooner you discover and find out, I can start doing this on the side. I can start earning an extra income above my paycheck. Those are things that are going to help you one day when that paycheck, you cannot rely on it forever. It depends on so many things. It depends on your health. It depends on your productivity. It depends even on your relationships, your friendships with your boss. If he doesn't like you anymore, you're gone. So the cost of keeping a paycheck coming is very high. I mean, some jobs you physically have to be present. And sometimes you may not be able to keep up that 365 days a year. You might break down during the year. So the sooner you realize I need to start making ways for myself to earn an extra $1, not from my paycheck and not from my boss. That is a very helpful statement. Just realize, man, ask yourself, what if tomorrow they tell me there's no paycheck? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I sit down and ask myself, what if next week I don't get a paycheck? What am I going to do? And that's a big possibility. It happens. It happens, and it happens to so many people. Before you know, so let us allow ourselves very quickly to start learning how to earn something very easily from our side. One thing you told us, just branding yourself. Your brand can start helping you earn money. And it is true, Pastor Ricardo. I mean, someone calls you and say, hey, brother, let's go do something this weekend. I need you to speak to these kids for about 30 minutes. I want you to teach a lesson about leadership to kids. That is not coming from a paycheck. That is coming from the things I've taught myself along the way. I'm like, wow, someone actually is willing to pay Coach Ricardo to come and speak to kids at a school. What a blessing that is.
Good money.
So, that's money. So there's so many ways, but to put a mindset down is that how can I earn an extra income, an extra amount of money? Don't mind about the cost yet, but outside of what I'm doing. That's a great mindset to start with, not to live paycheck to paycheck.
Ladies and gentlemen, you hear it right here. You're hearing it right here on Effective Living. My internet is acting the fool, but we're pushing this through. Naz is giving us good information. Naz, close us out. Closing thought. We're going to do this again. We're going to do a part 2 to this talk. Just give our viewing audience a challenging closing thought when it comes to changing your mind to change your life.
Changing your mind, changing your life. There's something quickly out down here. You said, what advice would you give to a 20-year-old now? And I was like, woo! The more information is very great, but there's something you also teach, applied knowledge is very important. We didn't know. Now we got to know. But what is our challenge? Applying what we got to know. That has been our biggest issue. So we are living in a place where information is everywhere. I mean, can you believe? There's a talk show like this. I never had this until I was 30 years old. I remember when I met you, I was a 25-year-old boy. And there's a Toastmaster. They teach you how to speak. Really? You know what I'm saying? Can you believe this information 20 years ago available to everyone in any environment? So we are having knowledge and information at our fingertips, but can we apply it? Can we use it to be able to change our lives and our environments and our associations and everything? For someone to make a commitment that I am going to wake up or listen to Coach Ricardo's teaching every day. Whatever 10 points he has teaching today, I am going to listen to them again. Just listen to them and sinking in your head is a blessing in itself. Just every day, like I am listening to effective living every day. And it is constantly cleaning up because you, for the last 25 years, you put in different things in your head. They're not just going to leave. You are going to constantly have to fight very hard because we've come from different environments. We have gone almost work double to make sure that this mindset right here, let me tell you, our labor is not going to get us there, Pastor Ricardo. We work hard. We're internationals. We know how to work. But that is not going to, because this body has a limit. It can only go so far. So for us to get to a point in life, brother, if this can clear up, if this mind can get it, I think I can make. People are not surviving because they're working hard. People are thriving because their minds have been liberated. Their minds have gone far in terms of money, association, environment, and everything around me. So this brother right here, I am constantly telling my mind. You used to have a cassette long time ago, which you say, Lord, help my mind. I said that statement every morning. I said, Lord, I know people look at me and say, well, brother, you're doing well. I'm like, no, guys, I need the Lord to help me with my mind. If my mind can only change 1%, I am going to do better than what I'm doing. So put yourself in an environment where this brain right here is going to think differently. I was challenging a friend of mine back home. Most of the kids we went to school with and grew up are starting non-profit organizations, Coach Ricardo. There's everywhere. Everyone is starting a non-profit organization. And I was like, I have no problem with that. But if all of us are starting non-profit organizations and then our friends from another culture are building programs to take their kids to the moon, we are in danger. Our mind thinks the same way. How can I start a non-profit so that I can ask for donations? Donations. Someone else is saying, how can I start a business so I can donate to you? I don't want to be on that donation part. I don't want to be on that donation part anymore. But it is a mindset that as soon as I step back home or speak to any person I've grown up with, everybody's writing a proposal. Everybody's writing an orphanage proposal. Everybody's writing a religious proposal. I'm like, where is that? This is on a small level, just human beings, but there's so many non-profit. It's a bad culture, a very, very bad culture. No country develops because they're getting aid. Countries that are giving us aid are developing. So our mindsets have been trained, well, just write a proposal, work a non-profit, and then you can ask for donations. I'm from the same background too, but I'm realizing, no, there's something wrong. All of us, 30 million young people, cannot be waiting for a donation.
Naz, it is so interesting that you say that because, you know, Effective Living is an LLC. It's a business. I did 24 years in nonprofit, and someone says, you stop your nonprofit? Yes. Somebody say, hey, brother, you should not have shut down your nonprofit. Get away from me. You go ahead and keep the nonprofit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cash in so that I could donate. I want to be able to donate rather than having to ask for a donation. So you're right on. A couple of my clients who work with me lately, I told them, they said, hey, I want to start a nonprofit. I said, no. Go do an LLC, own a business.
Yeah.
And then watch this, make good money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to go ahead and make good contribution because you've made good money. Had someone told me that, 20 years old now, it would have been a difference. But here's the deal. I now know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to teach what I now know. And I have to live what I now know. You are living it. You are teaching it. You're accepting it. And it's going to help your country in the long haul. That is so good, Naz. Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home. We're going to do a part 2 on this. I want to talk again with this, but I know my internet is acting crazy. And so, closing thoughts, Naz.
So, all right. Listen, there's a few things I wrote down for any of us who's been listening and tuning into ourselves. Thank you so much for being with us. Number one, put yourself in an environment where you're able to read, study. If you can't read and study, you can listen. You can listen to something that is going to change your mind. Changing your mind is a process, but the things you're listening to around are going to help you to open your mind. Travel. Go and see another culture. That's very, very, very important. Then do not be afraid to make mistakes because, oh my goodness, the older we grow, you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make a mistake. But read, study, listen, expose yourself to anything that can help you. Just one statement, someone realizes, you know what? There's someone assigned to help you. Someone is just waiting to help you. If you can embrace that and then start going to a meeting and looking and say, who in this group can help me? That alone is a great. Then lastly, do not fear making mistakes, and then put yourself in an environment to be coached by someone who can help you get. I mean, this coaching is becoming a great deal. And I've seen Coach Ricardo, I've seen people who have come to your life and you give them, do these 10 things this month. Do these 5 things the next few weeks. What? Can you believe it? Those are things you've learned over 20 years, and someone can apply them in 6 months and a year and be able to write a book and be able to get on TV and be able to start. So finding a coach to help you is the new deal, and I'm accepting that with no doubt.
Thank you so much, Naziri. This has been an incredible talk. Man, I hate my internet was acting the fool on this deal, but we're going to do this again. Have a phenomenal day, people. Make sure you sign up for my upcoming retreat, guys. This is going to be a difference maker. It's going a lot of people. Now, here's what I know. You got to do something different to get something different. Don't be afraid to apply what Naz just mentioned because you don't want to stay stuck. You don't want to stay stuck. There's a better place where if you grow, glow, and engage yourself in the most healthiest of practices, you'll find yourself there. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Naz, once again, thank you so much.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. See you guys.